before we continue where we left off, let's hear who we have at the table, players and characters. Han, will you begin?
Hello, I'm Han. I'm playing Winnie, Guardian of the Shared Sky, and I'm also recovering from the flu, so if I sound nasally, I apologize.
Brennan.
Hi, I'm Brennan. I'm playing Brother Arcos Gerard, Priest Deferia.
And Rob.
I'm Rob, playing Magnus Vale, Master of Day and Night.
Sorry, before I did my thing, I just think it's funny, maybe like after getting not hit with a rock, Winnie is also just a little hoarse.
Yeah, she's a little, stirred up from that.
Yeah. Nevertheless, I am Amelia Som, your GM, and the three of you, along with your companions, are walking your way back through the crypt to the surface of Forlorn. It is winding. I think as dark and spooky as it seemed on your way down, on the way out, it's comparatively lighthearted and bright. But do you guys have any conversations you want to have as you're walking out, or do you just spend those moments in silence, having reached out to some entity and gotten an answer to a question you might not have known you had?
As much as I'm sure everyone wants to hear Arcos monologue for a while, I feel like after meeting a god and then a something, he's going to be very contemplative, very silently contemplative about his life and its direction at the moment.
Did we hear everyone else's question and answer?
You only felt your answer in your mind.
I mean, I only felt my answer on the head.
So true.
Magnus is brooding over the fact that he let go a chance to ask about his wife and instead asked how to get out alive because it was not a helpful answer.
Okay. As you all walk in silence, no one else really dares to break it. Askerath taking the helm, leading you back the way you came. And eventually you begin ascending staircases, climbing ladders, going up and up from the kind of more cultish, scrawling, carved brute decorations to what seems more familiar as what you would all traditionally understand a crypt to be. And you find your way out, coming up through the four-piece which you entered, the staircase reforming, the tiles move, as I believe it was Azorus Lauf who was waiting for you, who sent you down there to begin with.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The priest militant.
Yep.
My boss.
Your boss. Who has taken to sitting on a nearby pew, bench sort of situation, and looks very relieved to hear the ground moving and you all coming back up in one piece. So you've done it.
It seems that we have. Askerath made sure of that, and some quick thinking all around. The crypt of certain death is now the crypt of almost certain death, or likely death, statistically probable death.
I mean, I wouldn't be sending anyone else down there anytime soon. Kind of a miracle that we got ourselves out.
We met
Miracles
your
could
god.
work.
They seemed nice.
I was leading up to that, Magnus.
You
Sorry.
spoke.
Yes. Spoke is a certain term for it. They appeared as a black cloud descended upon me, and we had a brief exchange of the philosophical and somewhat personal nature.
Dear Lon will want to hear about this.
Yes. it's not quite as simple as the pat on the back I was hoping for, if I ever got the chance to meet them in this plane of existence. We might need to be doing some things differently.
That's what I've been saying.
Well,
So-
this is, that's a very large and vague statement.
It was a very large and vague god.
Interesting interpretation. All right. Is this something we should get into now? You all look rather shaken. Would you like to rest here? Would you like to? We can dissect this now, or
A nap would be lovely. I'm not gonna lie.
excellent. We have quarters that would suit all of you, of course. All right. So, well, if we need to be doing things differently, Firlan is in Rel at the moment.
Rel, you say?
Yes.
Good, yes. Yes, very good.
I will send word if you, excellent. If you don't mind having a scribe come and take out
No,
your
please.
account of the situation. Excellent.
Please.
And there's, someone at all hours who's awake at this church, who comes and asks you to recount everything you possibly can about your experience. Do you do so?
Yes, I do. I feel like in the beginning of the conversation, I probably ease in doing the Arcos thing of being like,
Well, you see, it's not quite as it were if it really weren't, and
that's kind of like, and eventually being like, this is really not the time to.
Yeah, I think Magnus at some point is gonna pull Arcos aside and be like, "So Arcos, does this mean you're like a prophet of your church now?"
Well, let's put it this way. Being their poster child was rather fun, and something tells me that it'd be best for everybody if I didn't consider myself more than just a man. So yes, but humbly so.
Wow, Arcos, that seems like that. I am impressed. That's very noble of you. So, what do you fancy about this new church that you're going to build with your prophetness?
Wait, where are you having this conversation? Because he was just speaking to a scribe. Are you doing this in front of the scribe?
Like, off the record real quick, like walking out of earshot.
I'm imagining that this is sort of like
This is an in the head conversation.
I was more thinking of like conversation like around the water cooler, like in between you like describing what's going on to the scribe.
So you just take him for a break?
Yeah. It's just
We're
Okay.
at the holy water cooler.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not like for holy water. It's a water cooler that's holy.
Naturally.
Awesome. So,
Yes. That's quite the question, Magnus. First off, my best friend. I've known you for several years, and I cannot tell sometimes when you're being genuinely sarcastic. You think being a prophet of a god is a truly noble thing?
I mean, no. I mean, not inherently. No, but nothing's ever inherently noble. That's sort of why I was asking. It feels like the way you sort of dropped it on Mr. Lauf was that that's the High Priest Middleton's name, right? Lauf?
Yes,
okay, titles? Would he go by Mr.?
No.
Go like Priest Militant Lauf? What would I
He
address
goes
him
by
as? Brother?
Mr. when Magnus talks to him.
Usually just like High Priest Lauf.
High Priest. Yeah,
Father.
no, Magnus, totally father.
The way you
Probably
sort
not.
of...
I think by definition, the Church of Furia is not very gendered.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird.
the way you dropped the news on High Priest Lauf seemed not not very subtle to the fact that you had talked with your god. It sort of puts you in a position to change a lot of things. Do you have an idea of what you would like your church to be like? Because you have sort of a rare opportunity to shape the world around you, Arcos.
I must say, perhaps even a month ago I would have been excited at the prospect, shaping the world in my own image. It's just awesome. But I'm afraid things in my life have questioned my confidence in my own abilities and judgment. And we can get into those another time, but I don't
Perhaps
quite...
on next Tuesday we could talk it over.
Sometimes I do go on long walks in the woods. What do you know?
Perhaps a different location would serve this conversation better than in the Temple of Furia.
That is all you need to tell me. I know it's not something against your personal moral code, and so I know I don't have to say this, but I was going to ask you not to judge me, but feel free to. It's a failure of mine, I think. You ever have such an obsession with people being interested in you and loving you that you could visit adoring crowds in your hometown and still crave more attention?
I've had a different historical relationship with attention than you have, Arcos. Where attention follows me, it's usually because I've caused some sort of trouble. And I know that there are certain kinds of trouble that, even if fun, once or twice, will bring you unwanted attention if it becomes a pattern.
Are you talking about my habit or the time you burned down the library?
Okay, well, see, I really shouldn't burn so many libraries. That's what I'm saying. That's the lesson. Do anything once, as I always say, but if people start to know what happens on Tuesday nights, it could be bad for you and for your church.
I know. It's one of the many things I have to think about now. Furia told me that perhaps tradition is not only an ineffective way of worship, but an even more ineffective way of bringing about positivity in life. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this information, and I'm even more certain I'm no longer the man who's supposed to do it, whatever it is. Which is why I need you on my side.
Well,
I can't force you to say anything or not say anything, but as your friend, you let me figure this out on my own.
as long as you don't jeopardize the people that are close to you in your pursuits, I will not interfere. But I do expect you to resolve this problem before it does become noticeable by everybody else.
You have my word.
And then Magnus is going to lean in. And if you need any creams or topical ointments...
All right.
I'm just saying, you don't know what you're getting into there. I mean, that's... Look, hey, we just all need to get a checkup every once in a while. It's not a big deal.
I'll get checked out.
Magnus is gonna start walking away and be like, anyway, Arcos, yeah, the weather, crazy, man. I'll talk to you later on our walk. And then he's gonna dip and try to get out of there.
It's like the middle of the night. There's no one else like really even around you. But as you go back, Arcos, and copy things down, they probably would have come back by, ask the two of you. Someone's talking to Askarath and things, and Lauf is showing people like to your rooms and things if you want. And as you recount the story, as you close, Lauf is waiting for you, Arcos. And says, I look forward to reading the full report. Firlon is aware of what has happened, and I highly encourage you to speak to them as soon as you are able to travel to Rel. You were hoping to find something in the crypt that would help you in your ongoing campaign. Did you do so? Do you need anything else from us?
Okay, table talk real quick. A couple weeks ago when we left the crypt, what did we... So we have a meeting with Furia and then an unknown entity. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
Weird old magic. That's all you found out.
All right.
Yeah, I mean,
we were in a weird room
runes.
with runes. Yeah, that looked like the ones on the Rockies.
Okay.
Well, I don't think that we learned like nothing from this experience. It wasn't like, a magical tome that would solve all our
You
problems.
didn't get your MacGuffin.
No.
No, yeah, that's what we're looking for.
You've denied us any MacGuffins besides.
You don't get a MacGuffin. Your MacGuffin is character development. Figure it out.
I basically convey that. That's our MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Our MacGuffin is character development.
No, you got information, but it wasn't like there was some secret, singular, holy artifact that neatly ties up everything. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Just making sure, because I was like, I don't remember one, and it would be really stupid on my part if I'm like, nope, got nothing. But
yeah, question stands. What does Arcos actually say in this moment, though? That is important.
I do believe there is much more that we need. I don't believe we can find any more here. We gained quite a bit of knowledge in the crypt. I hesitate to call it knowledge directly related to what we're looking for, but knowledge all the same. But I am very confident that there is nothing more here for us on this journey.
All right.
High Priest, may I ask you something?
Of course.
As the priest militant, one reason I've enjoyed this part of our church is it seems fairly straightforward. Keep out corruption and blight, defend the innocent, heal the wounded, cure the sick. It seems relatively simple. But have you ever found a time when you've needed a compass? Not a literal one, but you don't know where you're supposed to go or what you're supposed to do, but you know that there's something, you have to go somewhere and do something.
Yes, Arcos. Many times.
And what did you do?
Whatever I could. Sometimes the answers are not clear beforehand. You put one foot in front of the other. You continue forward. And you hope that if you make decisions with good intention and solid foresight, that eventually you'll get to a place where things become clearer. And of course, faith in fear, yeah. It's not nothing. Our God looks after us. And the belief in that, well, sometimes that's all you need.
Your words are beyond wisdom, High Priest. Are we good people? I know we're good clerics and citizens of the forest, the forlorn, but are we good beings?
I cannot speak for everyone. I can only speak for myself, which is, I try to be. I think that's all we can hope for in this life.
Thank you, High Priest. I bid you good night.
You as well, Arcos. Get some rest. You've earned it. And you break for bed. You all are taken to your quarters. They're not private. It's mostly it's like community bunks. You're not in the same, you guys are in your own little bunk thing with just your group. This place isn't very full right now, but like you all are basically in the same with like bunks. And yeah, you're all free to talk, free to go to sleep. We can just fast forward to the morning.
Winnie's sleeping, for sure. I want my PowerPoints back.
Arcos is not making a sound. But he's also not asleep until late. He's staring at the ceiling mostly.
Yeah. Craig is gonna leave the bunks, go somewhere else for a while. Julian is sitting and reading on the bed. Huron is also just out. It's been a big day for him. He's had a lot of big days, really.
Do I notice that? Can I notice that?
That Huron's had a big day? I feel like it's pretty obvious.
You know what I am asking. Can I notice that Craig has left?
Yeah, he's not like sneaking. Wait, you said you were laying in bed, but you weren't sleeping?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're just laying in bed with your eyes open, you notice Craig's like kind of situates his stuff, does his like brushes his teeth, changes his jammies or whatever. And yeah, he's not like sneaking off. He's just not he's not like announcing it, but he's not sneaking off.
Can I like subtly nudge Magnus in some way?
Yeah, easy
Good
enough. Are you guys
choices.
bunking next to each other?
I'd like to think I'm below him, just physics.
Oh, you're on the yeah, you're on the bunks, sure. Yeah, in that case, you have to like throw a pillow or something at him.
Yeah, just psst. Psst.
What?
You remember finding out about my Tuesday night strolls?
Are we seriously? Is this the time? You really want to talk about this right now?
This is not the time, but however you found out about it, and I'll leave the choice up to you, but I think Craig is up to something. Just thought I'd mention that.
And I'll just go back to... Guess it's not staring at the ceiling. I'm below in the bunk. I like to think... Hey,
You're staring at the wood grain.
the wood grain. Is there more than one bunk bed? Or did... or
I mean, I was actually
beds?
thinking some of them were bunk beds and some of them were just singles.
Got it. Because it would be funny if there's like one bunk bed and a bunch of empty singles, and it's not just the bunk bed. And also, if I'm like 9 feet tall, is it like trapezoidal, or is he just in like a giant
I think
bed?
they're varying sizes because people in the height of the average adult person varies so wildly. And like they have one size for giant folk. They live in the middle of a forest with a lot of giant folk.
But Magnus has taken one of those beds.
Yeah, and that's why you can fit on the bottom, Arcos.
Oh, that's great.
It's like the size of a regular king size bed. Just long
Yes.
and skinny.
But just not as wide.
yeah.
So So Arcos basically wakes Magnus up to tell him, hey, this child is sneaking out. You should go follow him. And so Magnus is now awake, also looking up at the ceiling like, is this really my responsibility? Arcos, I think like while you're looking up like at the bottom of my bunk from the side of the bed, you're just gonna see like a long like mop of black hair followed by Magnus's like two purple cross eyes like descend over the lip of the bunk and just look at you and go, what is going on?
I have two things. Number one, I hate it when you hang upside down like that. Just mine was spiders, and I hate spiders. Unrelated. I think there's a 99.9% chance that he's not going to be getting himself into trouble when he sneaks off in the middle of the night with the weird crown thing he's wearing. And I am comfortable with taking that 0.01% risk. Or 0.1% risk. I don't know, the point is. But if you were to be concerned that they are not getting themselves into trouble.
Oh my god, Arcos, spit this out or I'm going to go back to bed.
I'm just saying, not my responsibility.
Arcos, if you're gonna go follow him, just go follow him. Woody seems like she's been asleep this whole time, but like she's like facing the wall, but she just says that like facing away from you.
The bullshit detector like woke her up like a spidey sense.
How long have you been awake?
That's none of your damn business.
All right. I'm sure Craig will be fine. Sorry for waking you all.
Yeah,
Then Woody kind of waves and just goes back to sleep.
Magnus is going to like point over vaguely towards the direction of Julian and say, that one's mine. Go follow yours. And then his head is going to disappear back up on top of the bunk.
Oh, God. I mean, there's no reason really for me to worry about them. They're fine. Right?
I don't know. That seems debatable.
That's a decision you gotta make.
Yeah, so the way like collaborative role-playing games work is that I set up a scenario and then you make the decision, not me.
I guess I'm thinking out loud. Oh, God.
You wake up and Craig has been murdered.
Oh, God. I don't even want to think about that. I think that I'm going to give him his privacy for now, and if he gets murdered, I'll just feel guilty about it for the rest of my really long forest giant life.
Yeah, I think
or
Mills
if it becomes
will
a consistent thing.
Murder one of their probably favorite NPCs just because you decided not to go follow him.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Brennan's pretty sure that Craig's not going to exit the plot, but...
Go get your boy. What are you doing?
Arcos is like, I just feel like it's not really right for me to be stalking Craig. He's almost grown.
Yeah, and you basically have zero prior relationship with him. Why would it be weird to follow him?
Yeah, I'll just go to bed worrying and let him have his space. I'm sure that they're going through a lot right now.
So you have this conversation and then decide to go back to bed. And if you're going to bed, I guess you wouldn't notice anything until the morning. When
Awesome.
you all wake up and Craig is also there, waking up, and you all kind of get dressed and things and figure out what you're going to do with the day.
So, are we trying to go to SAR?
Sounds about right.
That's our next point, right? I gotta pull up my shit. Where the fuck we going? Library of Anemoros, House of Sar. Rel. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems we can kill two stones with one bird in Rel. I've got a meeting with High
what's that with the high priest?
The intercessor.
Oh, fucking awesome! Oh, it's great. Nils' world's top notch. I've got a meeting with the intercessor.
Well, that's next on our list.
Yes, but if someone would like to take my place, because it's one to be very uncomfortable, does anybody here do shapeshifting? Anybody?
Okay, well, shape-shifting into you is an offer that I'm sort of interested in as a general concept.
I'm starting to rethink this, and I've decided against it.
You can't be serious. Arcos, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm kidding. Just a little levity in the morning, you know? It's called Forlorn, but we gotta keep it light.
The other problem is, because as much as you guys don't particularly like me around here, they super don't like my ass. I can't come in with like a square mile of that library. That whole compound is off limits for me. So honestly, it might be better if I turn into you, Arcos.
Sometimes you have to fight your own battles. Now that I think about it.
So just to clarify, you think that 2 Arcoses would be better than just one Arcos and one something else?
Asgrath, I'm going to tell you right now, 2 Arcoses would be far worse, and I'm not proud of it.
Well, one of those Arcoses would be piloted by a Magnus, so depending on what your thoughts on that are, it sort of could be a wash.
And that's a nightmare I don't even want to begin to think about.
I must say, as nightmarish as the scenario is, it reminds me of how we met. Asgrath, let me tell you how I met Magnus.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Well, here's what happened. I was off to find the saintly relic of Saint Magnus of the same name, and he decided to pretend to be Saint Magnus and convince the townspeople he was a holy apparition performing miracles. And then we get drunk. Oh!
Yes, I was selling a Saint Magnus brand of beer to the public, and as part of that had impersonated Saint Magnus, using the statue in the town square as a reference. The problem being is that I got a bit carried away, and when you have so much beer and it's not selling well, then it's going to go warm, and that's sort of a waste. So by the end of the day, and when I met Arcos, I had sort of already drunk myself under the table and been kicked out of a couple taverns. Oh, what a time. And then I sold him a whole stock. Best buck I ever made.
Yeah, yes. Anyway, it's good memories. I can't believe I've never told you this, Asgarath.
You have.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. All right. So, y'all are heading to Rel.
Yes.
That's correct.
Plains ought to do me some good. Really pretty to look over sometimes. Contemplate mortality.
Oh, okay. Great. Great look for you, Arcos. Is it all right if I come?
Sure. Can you keep your own?
Yeah.
She put up with Arcos long enough.
Kept mine and his for a while.
Same joke.
All right, you're good in my book.
We'd be blessed.
I think that would be a grand idea. You have so much expertise in the interpretation of old religious paintings and artifacts. I think might come in handy, especially in the House of Anemoros.
Yeah, I was hoping that I sort of got that vibe when we were leaving the Room of Certain Death, Temple of Certain Death, whatever.
Yes, I am curious. Did you have, when we were exiting, did you also have a conversation with a sort of mystical voice that felt like it was coming from inside the earth?
I did.
I can't make you divulge it if you don't want to, but what did you talk about, by chance?
I just sort of asked what my role is here.
And what did it say in return?
I think y'all need a guide.
Y'all got an answer to your question?
Yes,
I just got hit with a rock. What the fuck?
I mean, maybe Maybe that's something. I don't know. What was your question? Was your question like?
I asked it who it was.
Hurts?
And it didn't like that, I guess. Hit me
Maybe
in the back
it really
of the
likes
head.
throwing rocks. Maybe that's who it is.
Maybe it just hates
Rock
women.
thrower.
I guess it did
Well,
answer you, though, so that hypothesis is out the window.
I asked what will happen, hoping for some foresight into fate, and it told me everything, as it always does.
Well, that's
Like-
helpful.
Yeah, it's kind of like talking to the old wise men at the monastery. They give you really shitty answers and then tell you it's your fault you don't get them.
I just asked why. Gurren says.
And
Told me to find out.
did anybody else get instructions of this ancient deity?
What did you get, Magnus?
He sort of looks like a little bit pissed and sort of furrows his brow and just says, I asked it, well, I panicked. I thought we were going to die, and so I asked it how to get out of there, thinking that we would probably be crushed by the rocks. What it told me was that basically that this would end the way it began. And I'm not sure how to feel about that. I mostly wish I would have asked a better question. You all seem to have learned a bit more than I did.
Oh, yeah, I learned a lot through my answer.
You were hit with a rock. What was your question?
I asked it, who are you? And I got no words. Just a rock to the back of the head.
Oh. Well, I think you got the clearest answer of all of us, actually.
Someone who doesn't want to reveal their identity? Perhaps?
I don't think... Whatever we were talking to is something deeply powerful and likely primordial. I don't think it would waste its breath talking to us if all it was going to say were lies. I just don't think it will give us a straight answer. You asked it what it was, and it hit you with a rock. Hell, it could be our Kratos for all we know. But likely something smaller. But maybe just as old.
Oh, actually, yeah, it is really old. So I asked it, what is this place? And it said that it's a temple older than the time we know, and it's where its gospel was written. So
Now that's an
old
answer.
as hell.
That's a real answer. That's something we can learn from.
Maybe it just didn't like your question.
I mean, it's a pretty straightforward question.
Maybe it's too straightforward. It is no temple older than time, which we kind of knew, is vibe-wise.
But don't downplay it, you got a straight answer. That's something. Hurry got instructions from an otherworldly being. I mean, come on.
I think Magnus turns to Julian and, puts a finger on his lapel and goes, boop, and just, puts a little magic star on his lapel for asking a good question.
he smiles at the receipt of a gold star, a magic gold star.
Well, some things to contemplate. Ascaratham, we are blessed to have you. Curious, what compels you to join us? Is it curiosity, or just trying to keep us from getting killed, or seeking an adventure?
I mean, I told you, if my role in this is to guide, I'm going to guide you. You weren't the only one that had a conversation with Furia down there. Granted, mine wasn't, I think, of the same sort of magnitude, but...
Well?
Things are changing.
They sure are, aren't they? You sign up for a lifetime of servitude to something you never think is going to change. And now it's all changing.
Maybe you did.
Sometimes, Askarath, I ask myself what I signed up for and what I'm doing, and the answer is I don't know anymore, so it's a good point.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Arcos, that was pretty clear to me very early on.
As I recall, you told me I was just a little, prickly about the opinion.
Well, you made it this far, so must have done something right.
Is there a compliment buried somewhere deep in there? Or do mine ears deceive me?
All right, and we're back.
Some things don't change, I suppose. All right, let's get to the plains.
No, Rel's the city.
Rel's a city? Oh.
Yeah. Sar is a plane, but you're going to a place called the House of Sar.
Oh,
in Rel.
Got it. I knew that. Geography. Not my best subject.
What were your best subjects, Arcos?
I was hoping to cut this out, so I'm not going to
List your top 5 best categories when you were a school child.
What are you good at? Quickly.
Let me guess. Physical education was your top grade.
Beams of light and smashing, and what's the other thing? We're battlefield doctoring. You know,
Choir.
No, choir. Maybe.
I don't even remember where we were. I don't remember the last.
Let's go to Rel, is what Arcos said.
Let's go to Rel.
How do you want to get to Rel? Are we going by foot? Are we teleporting?
Can we teleport?
Are you going directly to Rel? Well, here's the thing. If Magnus is not super welcome, and do you think, because Rel is like the capital city, there's a part of it that is like the super holy area. The House of Sar is not like a single building. It's essentially like a district of town, a small district, but still there. Like a Vatican, but scaled down. But where do you think Magnus is allowed to be?
Well, I don't know. Like, if somebody stole, like, okay, like, theoretically, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, basically, like, what Magnus did was, like, if somebody, like, stole the Holy Grail, or, like, a piece of it.
That's not very good. That's not great, my man.
So, like, how hard would it be to get in and out of the Vatican if you were that guy?
Right, like, you didn't, like, cause a huge, like, schism, like, you didn't dampen that god's power in the world, but, like, what you did was take something incredibly powerful, and they also don't know what you used it for. You can't just be like, hi, I'm borrowing this, bye.
All right.
So they're like, you could be like, I'm creating a new world order, mwahahaha.
Counter question.
Yeah.
Winnie has a lot of sway in Rel, correct? Because she's somewhat from there. She's from the surrounding area. That's a big enough crime to not... Like, Winnie isn't going to be able to sway that away. But, like...
Right.
Okay, just, like...
There is... Like, you can't sway that away. There is a chance that if you got... if people were already in a good mood, and you specifically, and maybe Arcos, depending on the day, right? Arcos is very hit or miss with these things. Could argue some sort of concession that might lift, or that might get Magnus an audience with people who might reconsider his ban. But the fact is also Magnus does not have any sort of sentence because he's not been, like, formally tried.
Right. Okay.
And let's keep it that way, shall we?
We haven't had a trial this season, though.
Yeah, Magnus is, like, sort of tempted to just change into a different guy again.
That might work
well
best. And then When he'd be like, if there were hypothetically someone here who hypothetically shouldn't be allowed here, who hypothetically isn't allowed here, who I hypothetically needed to come on our hypothetical journey to the House of Sar, hypothetically could we ignore that he is here with me for a day, hypothetically.
There is that possibility. I also want to reinforce the fact you are going into a very powerful place of divine magic full of very careful things, one which you successfully infiltrated once. Meaning, if you got in there the first time through trying to disguise yourself or whatever, they will probably see through that a second time. Okay, where did we leave off?
Okay,
I was asking
if we were going to teleport there or not.
Yeah, you can teleport directly into the city and risk being noticed, or you can teleport to a nearby sigil, as Rob, you and I discussed, would be in, is it Aeronox? Yes.
That's where I'm from.
Yeah. Magnus probably has a sigil that's near the gate that you guard.
Oh.
Or at least a house that you stay.
Okay.
Because I assume that a lot of the time when you leave Magnus's tower, you probably request to be teleported there or near there.
Okay. Yeah.
It can be in Aeronox proper if you wanted, but that seems like something Winnie might not want.
Nah. Well, yeah, probably not. Probably not directly in the town.
Magnus probably doesn't realize that, though. So, I can teleport us to Aeronox. It'll be it's a suburb right outside of,
I mean, it might not be best to, like, pop right into, like, in the middle of the town. There's, like, people, it's a quiet town, you know? Don't want to cause a ruckus.
But isn't it sort of redundant to, like, teleport to the outskirt of the town that you're trying to get into?
I don't know.
Don't you? I teleport you to Aeronox all the time. I'm not sure why.
Well, then it's just me. We got a whole traveling parade here now.
I mean, that is true. I suppose I could teleport us outside of where the sigil is. Like, it's not that much more difficult. Certainly not as hard as walking through Nil, Julian.
He just kind of chuckles awkwardly.
Well, I told myself I should wait 30 years at least before I go back to this part of the world, but I guess, no time like the present. Magnus is going to start writing the teleportation sigils and starting that magic to get us out of there.
Yeah, and you do so. This is a pretty straightforward teleportation to a place that you're familiar with. So, I mean, you have to mark PowerPoints, but you can do this very easily.
Yeah, we all grab hands in a circle.
Yeah, I think as your Magnus, make a notice check for me.
Okay. Let's do that. Horrible, that's 4.
Yeah, okay. With a 4, you start drawing your teleportation sigil as usual. It takes you a little bit. It's pretty quick and entirely muscle memory for you at this point to do so. And you all hold hands as you begin the spell.
Yeah, I think Magnus says some words in a guttural sort of echoing sort of language, and in an instant we start traveling through space and time towards our destination.
And you do so. No problems or complications.
Can I take just a quick head count and make sure everyone got back on the other side?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I think you're counting to 8 and maybe 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's 7.
Yeah,
I have everyone.
Article, Swinny, Oscar, me.
You do so, and everyone's there, all in one piece.
Magnus count to 7?
The question everyone's been asking since the start of this podcast. You can indeed count to 7.
Do we want to disclose what our intelligence scores are? What's your smart, Swinny? I'm curious.
As you all land, your feet going from the hard dirt of the forest to an incredibly soft grass. Not too far off from where you, Winnie, know one of the sacred gates to the other planes to be. And in the other direction, a small town in which you grew up. And in the third ways away, the city of Rel. Which way do you wish to go?
I think once Winnie lands on the ground, I think she's gonna just take a very deep breath and take in this atmosphere that she's very familiar with. And I think around her, maybe the grass kind of breathes with her and moves just a little bit, just recognizing her presence there. Oh man, it's good to be home. I mean, I don't really see any reason why we need to stop into Aeronox. Might as well just head into Rel.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, I got friends I could visit, but everyone I know has moved on into the bigger city.
Can I make a bullshit detection check?
Yeah. What is Magnus trying to find out?
Well, because now that we've established that Magnus has been actively teleporting Winnie to Aeronox pretty consistently over the past year, I don't know that he sort of buys this I don't actually like being here. Don't teleport me to the center of town. I don't actually want to talk to anybody here, sort of thing.
Okay.
I'm just trying to check is she being sketch about this?
Sure.
Roll for sketch detect.
I guess that's just notice. All right, that's a 10.
Winnie, does any part of you want to be are you being truthful when you say you do not want to go to Aeronox with everybody?
I am being truthful in the fact that they're the only reason it's nice to go home, but she doesn't have any family there that she needs to go see. Her sister lives in Rel. Her nephew, quote unquote, lives in Rel. The only reason why she would want to go there is to just say hi to the people who she used to know and work with and stuff. And we're on an important journey. There's no really reason to go do that and take time to go do that right now.
Okay, fair enough.
And that is where the gate to Envy's family is, but we're gonna get to them eventually. So again, in time.
Yeah. So you get that. Winnie says she doesn't want to go to Aeronox, and she doesn't.
Word.
You all head toward the city. Magnus, who are you looking like?
That's a good question. Magnus is going to take a form that I don't think he has taken in a long time. He's going to actually shift and disguise himself to be younger. This time, looking more like instead of dark hair, short blonde hair, blue eyes, man in his early 30s. And he's going to do the similar masking of his eyes and appear in a teal robe this time with some brighter colors, a teal and white robe, as opposed to sort of the gray, more dull fall colors. This form is another one of his sort of religiously significant forms that he's taken over his lifetime.
All right. As you begin to head into the city of Rel, you walk on a wide path. It is likely a half day's travel on an open and well traversed road to the large walls and city gates of Rel, where the next chapter of our story takes place.